Yo, peace was good. Welcome to the song my CD collection. This is part 89. Um, but before I start, I just want to apologize for you guys to see me in that form. You know what I mean? I didn't want to really make that video, but it had to be addressed, and looked like that issue was addressed, so to speak. So that's all I have to say about that. So. But without all that negativity, let's just get on to the CDs, alright? So this is the rest of the batch that I got online and stuff like that, alright? So first album of the night that I'm gonna show you guys is Edalji and the Bulldogs' second album, Roxbury, 02119, released in 1993. For those who don't know what Edalji is an MC from Roxbury, Massachusetts, which is in Boston. It's like a suburb of Boston. It's like the black part of Boston, because if people know about Boston, you know Boston is known for its predominantly like Irish, you know, community and stuff like that. But Roxbury is like one of the black part and stuff like that. But came out in 1993. This is their second album. Their first time, Life of a Kid in the Ghetto. I need to get my hands on that. But that one's kind of hard to find. It's out of print, and it goes for some money online and stuff like that. So definitely need to get my hands on that eventually. But this one's a lot more cheaper compared to the first album. That, you know, it came out with the first album that I just mentioned. It came out in 91. Known for songs like Boogaboo, I Gotta Have It, and Be a Father to Your Child. Those are the three singles off that album. With this album, they only came out with two singles. Love Comes and Goes, pretty dope beat by Diamond D, and Skinny Dip, Got It Going On. You know, very dope album. It's a lot more harder, more you know, rugged compared to the first one. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, love the production on this album. I Thought You Knew, that's my shit. Features God Rest His Soul, Scientific, another dope MC from Boston, who was Edalji's artist. That you know, Edalji was Scientific's you know, mentor, that kind of thing. Kind of like how Eric Sermon was to Redman, you know, that kind of thing. Definitely need to get his two albums. The Criminal album that came out in 94, his second album, and the Most Blunted album. But those albums go for some money online. The Most Blunted album, I definitely need to get my hands on that, you know, because I see it for a decent price. It's a little up there, but I see it for a decent price. But I definitely need to get my hands on that sooner or later, because it's already gone up in price, and my stupid ass just waited to the last minute to get it. But I like this album a lot. To be honest with you, I haven't heard the first album, but I heard great things about it. I'm just surprised they haven't re-released it. But very dope album, highly recommended. Dope early 90s hip hop. This is Roxbury 02119 by Edalji and the Bulldogs, released in 1993. Then we got Lachey with Rhythms and Beats, released in 1997. For those who know who Lachey is, she's an R&B singer from Best Side, Brooklyn. Better known for her affiliation with Masta Ace Incorporated, which consists of Masta Ace, Paula Perry, Lord Digger, Masta Ace himself, Lachey, Ice U Rock, DJ Unique, and I forgot the other dude's name. But those are the members of the group and stuff like that. And you know, Masta Ace Incorporated broke up like in '96. So, but yeah, this is her first album and the only album she ever came out with. And she's Masta Ace's wife. For those who did know or didn't know, this is the only album she ever came out with. There's two singles off the album, Fulton Street and How We Stay. Yo, the Fulton Street remix, the Nick Wiz remix, oh my god, so dope. Definitely, I highly recommend checking that joint out. But very dope album. Definitely has that, you know, if you like that Mary J. Blige like hip hop R&B type of feel, then you'll definitely enjoy this album right here. You know, kind of like, you know, What's the 411, you know, and the remix album as well, but a lot more harder beats in my opinion. But very, very dope album, man. Very underrated. Unfortunately, this album didn't really get the proper promotion that, you know, it was supposed to. People only know them for the single, but people didn't really know about the album. and bad promotion. The albums just fade into like obscurity, so a lot of people don't really know about it, or if they do, you don't really hear too many people talking about it. But it's a good album. I fucks with it, man. If you guys want to add on to your Masta Ace discography or the affiliates, then this would be one of the albums to get. But yeah, very dope. It's dirt cheap, so I got it for like $4.99. So, but yeah, I definitely had to get my hands on it. Cute girl too. It's pretty. All right, you get a swig of water. Next album. In the Public Enemy realm of things, Long Island realm of things, we go to Chuck D with his debut album, the Autobiography of Mistachuck, released in 1996. You guys should know who Chuck D is. I did a review on the Fear of a Black Panther album by Public Enemy. I need to do more of their albums and stuff like that. I will eventually. Just never got around to it. It's his solo debut album, things like that. It has like various producers. You do have like some of the Bomb Squad doing some production on this album, but it's not that in your face Bomb Squad production. You know what I mean? This album is like a little more laid back. A lot more boom bap-ish compared to the Public Enemy stuff. The singles off this album is No and Generation Wrecked. Those are the singles off this album. Pretty dope album. I don't really hear people really talk about this album. And I think the reason why is because, this came out around a time where Public Enemy, their popularity they weren't as popular. They were like, Demons played out. Like, nobody trying to hear that Black Power shit, you know what I'm saying? So, and I think that was the case with this album. Because after like Apocalypse 91, Public Enemy wasn't as popular now. At that time, it was all about Onyx and Naughty by Nature, and in the West Coast, Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg and Eazy-E. Gangsta rap was on the rise, and the political rap shit wasn't going no more. It wasn't all that. So, but very dope album. I rarely hear people talk about this album, but finally got my hands on it. Yeah, very dope, and it's cheap too. It's out of print, but it's pretty cheap. You know what I'm saying? But this is the Autobiography of Mistachuck. This was released in 1996. Next album, I'm so glad I got my hands on it. I got it for a decent price. It was a little up there in price, but for the price I got it for, I'm so glad I bought it. I got it. I'm so glad I got it. Still in the Public Enemy, Long Island realm of things. You guys ready? I don't think you guys are, but I'm gonna show it to you guys anyways. Punk Barbarians, Sex, Props, Cream, and the Drama in Between, released in 1996. This is one of the most rarest albums, man. In like when it comes to 90s hip hop, this album is like up there. It's like one of the most sought after albums and stuff like that. Punk Barbarians, for those who don't know who they are, they're a group from Freeport, Long Island, Nassau County. For my New Yorkers, y'all know what I'm talking about. They got their start back in the early 90s, particularly 1993. They got put on by Public Enemy. They were affiliated with Public Enemy, that kind of thing. And they have a couple singles off this album. The singles are Hoopty Car, love the beat for that. Shit is so dope. Bubbling and Blast Off. Those are the singles off the album. Love the production on this album. It's like smooth production, but it's like dark, but it's smooth at this. I don't know. It's weird, man. It's like a little rough. It's like you know what it reminds me of? Like if you guys heard the Bush Babies, their second album, Gravity. It's almost like that production wise. It's like a little bit of that and a little bit of Tribe's Beats Rhymes of Life production wise. That's what I can think of, you know what I'm saying? But the production on this album is very dope. I mean, it's a fun album, it's pretty dope. Love this album. I'm so glad to get this album. This album usually goes for a lot of money. If you guys to find this album online, expect to pay at least $40 and shit, like 30 and up. Long out of print, hard to find, but I got it at Amazon. I got it for like, I think like $20 plus shipping and handling. So it came out to 24 and change, but I had to pick it up, man. But I fucking love this album. I'm so glad to own it, man. This is Punk Barbarians, Sex Props Cream, and the Drama Between. They still make music, but they don't go by Punk Barbarians. They go by the name of Black Barbarians. And you know, I've heard some of their music. You know, their new music. You know, they have a Reverb Nation account. You know, you know, it's you can tell they're trying to like. You know, they're kind of like experimenting. Like I could see they doing like the rock influenced beats, as well as like, you know, like the new shit, like the trap shit and stuff like that. So, you know, I'm not really feeling that, but you know, I'm just glad to own this joint right here. Very, very, very dope, man. Dope Long Island hip hop, man. Punk Barbarian, Sex Props and Creams, and the Drama in Between. Released 1996. If you can get your hands on this album, I highly recommend picking this album up, man. Very dope. Alright, still in the Long Island realm. So glad to get this album, so glad. And it is A+ with the Latch Key Kid, released in 1996. A+, for those who don't know who he is, he's an MC from Hempstead, Long Island. He came out, I think, with 2 albums. I think he came out with other albums, but you know, got to start in the mid-90s. He was discovered, I believe he was discovered like at a talent show in high school and some shit like that. A scout, you know, got to him and, you know, signed him and stuff like that. And there's 2 singles off the album. The singles was All I See and Party Joint. Those are the 2 singles off the album. Very, very, very dope album, man. The production on this album is pretty dope. You know, it kind of reminds me a little bit of like, you know, AZ's Do or Die album, but to me, it also reminds me a lot. Like, if you guys have heard, what's the name? Shaheem's second album, The Lost Generation. The way that album's formed is kind of like the same with this album. So, I think those 2 albums will go neck to neck. Like, if you compare the 2, they're almost like the same album, except like, you know, Shaheem's, you know, is a little bit more darker, but it has like West Coast feel to it. Whereas this album is like, you know, it's dark. It has like some dark songs, but you can tell it's from New York. You can tell it's a New York album, but you know, it just has that smooth feel to it, man. Like something like AZ would rap over, like beats AZ would rap over. And I think he was compared to AZ at that time too, because they had a song called A+Z featuring AZ, you know what I'm saying? And that's a dope fucking song. Gusto featuring Prodigy, oh my fucking god, that song is so dope. But you know what's crazy is because when you hear that song, Prodigy, especially around the Hell on Earth time, I've noticed with him, he tends to recycle his lyrics when it comes to certain songs. You know what I mean? It would be like the different beat, but the same lyrics. So when you hear the song, you hear Prodigy's verse, you'll know what I'm talking about. But very, very, very dope album. I rarely hear people talk about this album. A+, Latch Key Kid, released in 1996. He came out with another album called Hempstead High, which the single I think was called Hempstead High, where, you know, he uses like the Beethoven sample and stuff like that. I heard the album, I wasn't really too impressed with it, you know. I was just so spoiled hearing this album. I was like, yo, I definitely have to get this album. I remember first hearing it back in like 2004, 2005, but I downloaded it. I'm like, yo, you know what? I have to get this album. This album is too good not to own a copy, man. But yeah, A+, Latch Key Kid, released in 1986. Oh, also, before I forget, when I showed you guys the Lost Boys album, Beats from the East, which featured, you know, Lost Boys, obviously, Redman, Cannabis, and A+. This is the A+ I was talking about, so I thought I forgot to mention that, so I thought I'd just throw that out there. Next album is Shaquille O'Neal's third album, You Can't Stop the Rain, released in 1996. You guys should know who Shaquille O'Neal is. I showed you guys his first two albums that I have, Shaq Fu and Shaq Diesel, which I feel like are underrated albums. I feel like people don't really give those albums a chance. I think people just give him shit because he's a celebrity, he's a basketball player. But he's actually pretty. I mean, he's not the best lyricist in the world, but the beats are fucking dope. Like the beats, I'm not gonna lie, saved him. The beats saved him. But he held his own on those albums, man. So I say give it a chance. That's just me though. The singles off this album is Still Can't Stop the Rain, which features Biggie, and Straight Playing. Those are the two singles off the album. But yeah, very dope. This is when Shaquille O'Neal was still with the Orlando Magics, and I think like right after this album, that's when he joined the the LA Lakers. That's around '96. But yeah, very dope album. To me, the last good album he put out, because anything after that was just kind of I heard a little bit of his 1990, his fourth album, Respect, that came out in '98. I wasn't really too fond of it. It was too G-funkish for me, which I have no problem with, but it just didn't really, I don't know, I just wasn't really feeling the beats on that album. But yeah, that's just my opinion. But this is You Can't Stop the Rain by Shaquille O'Neal, released in 1996. Very dope shit. Let's through the water. Alright. Next album. Easy Moby's debut album called Now or Never Odyssey 2000, released in 2000. You guys should know who Easy Moby is. Easy Moby, at one point was part of the group. He was part of a group called Rapping is Fundamental that came out back in the early 90s, things like that. And he actually rapped, Easy Moby, super producer. He's produced with people like, Big Daddy Kane, Biggie, obviously, Lost Boys, a whole bunch of people, man. This is Craig Mack, the whole Bad Boy, family he's produced for, countless people, Das Effects. I could just go on and on and on, but you guys get the point. This is pretty much like a producer album where, he has people rapping over his beats as well as some like instrumentals, like some interlude and which is like instrumentals and stuff like that. The singles off this album is NYC, which features Coogee Rap and Gangsta Juvie. Holds your head up, Gangsta Juvie. Gangsta Juvie at one point was under Coogee Rap. He was Coogee Rap's artist at the time. He was rolling with them and shit like that. And I think at that time, Gangsta Juvie was rolling with that whole Next Level clique, with Smooth the Hustler, DR Period, Trigger the Gambler, Rhyme Record, and all those cats, what I'm saying? Brownsville nigga too, so. But yeah, glad to own this genre here. It's a dope album, Easy Moby, man, with the beats, man, fucking dope. Yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, dope album, what I mean? It's not his best stuff, but, definitely got some dope joints. One of the most standout songs is We Pledge Allegiance with Mobb Deep and Smith and Wesson. Oh my god, that shit is dope. That's like one of his most popular songs, like, as a solo artist, production wise, man. That shit, Jesus Christ, man. That is a dope fucking song. But yeah, Easy Moby, Now or Never, Odyssey 2000, released in 2000. And that's, a lot of these, yeah, all those albums are out of print, so, alright. Then you got the next album, still in the Brooklyn realm of things, Half a Mil with his debut album, Million, released in 2000. Half a Mil, God rest his soul, rest in peace. He got put on by DJ Scratch or Flipmode Squad. They're both in the same projects, Albany Projects and Crown Heights. I mean, this dude is so underrated, man. Like, this dude, his vocabulary, man, and his voice, man, it had that real raspy, rugged Brooklyn, I miss hearing his voice, man. He's very dope. If you guys are familiar with with the Belly soundtrack, the song "Some Niggas." Well, this is the dude that does that song, and it's actually on this album too, but it's the extended version, so which I thought was pretty cool. The singles off this album is "Some Niggas," "Where BK At," and I think "Tough Guy" was, or "Thug Love," I think it was a single. Around this time, this is when he was rolling with AZ and Ali Vegas, because AZ at that time, he had like his own thing going on. He had what's that shit? That Quiet Money shit, that he had back in the early 2000s, with Half a Mil being like one of the artists, and Ali Vegas and stuff like that. So yeah, man, very dope album. You know what I mean? I need to get his second album. I forgot the name of it, but you definitely need to get my hand. I think it's called The Hustle Don't Stop. I think that's what it's called. But yeah, finally got my hands on this album. By the way, I want to know if anybody got the hookup to his documentary that they put out back in, I think, 2012 or 2000. I think it was like 2010, 2011. It's called Player Hating or Player Loving or some shit like that. I need to get my hands on that. I want to see that shit. I mean, there's like little snippets on, like a trailer on YouTube and Vimeo and shit. But I want to see the whole thing, man. I mean, I need to see that shit, man. If you guys got the hookup, let me know here in the description box. But yeah, Half a Mil or Million, released in 2000. All right, my water. Alright, and then next album, finally got my hands on it after so many years. Been trying to get it for a while, but couldn't find it. But it's Tragedy Khadafi's fourth album, Still Reporting, released in 2003. I remember first hearing one of the songs called Hood. Fucking love that song. I think I first heard that on hiphopgame.com. You guys remember hiphopgame.com? I'm going way back, man. This is like 2003, man, and I used to hear that song all the time, son. That shit was my shit. Very dope album. Definitely a big improvement compared to his Against All Odds album that came out 2001, which I felt like was okay, but I feel like some of the production was kind of it's kind of meh in my opinion, because I feel like with that album he was trying to go commercial, and I just wasn't really digging that. Not content wise, but like production wise, like I didn't like the production that was going on, especially around like 2000, 2001. Especially with like New York MCs and stuff like that. Because a lot at that time they were using either like the keyboard, like Triton beats, or like the keyboard beats, or they were using a lot of timpani drums into the beats and stuff like that. And some of that shit is cool, but some of that got a little overbearing and stuff like that. But yeah, big improvement compared to Against All Odds, but very dope album. I believe the singles are Hood Love, yeah, I know Hood Love was definitely one of the singles, but yeah, the production on this album, very dope. I fucking love it. Tragedy still got it, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, Tragedy Still Reporting, released in 2003, very dope album. Then this, let me see how much time I got left. Alright, I gotta hurry up. Alright. Next album is Edalji and the Bulldogs with Life of the Kid and Ghetto, the demos and Rarities compilation that came out in 2008. It's pretty much songs that didn't make the first album. It's like songs that they recorded but never made the album, so you just had them stashed up and stuff like that. So very good. So I always love shit like this. I love when MCs put out like demos and stuff. I like hearing like demos and stuff like that, man. I love that shit, man. Like these are like all the taken from the demos, the reels, and the DAT tapes and all that. So definitely would love to hear. I love this album. This is pretty dope, man. It's like really dirty and grimy, shit like that. I would like to hear one for the second album, Roxbury, the 02119. I would like if there was to have something like that. But yeah, very dope album. Love this album. If you can find it, definitely pick it up. This usually goes for a lot of money online. I paid maybe like $30 something for this, I think, or 20 something. I don't remember, but I bought it from overseas because that was like the cheapest alternative to get it from. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, glad to get my hands on this. But Edalji and the Bulldogs, Life of a Kid in the Ghetto. This is Diamonds and Rarities album, released in 2008. Still in the Boston Edalji realm. I got this joint right here, Edalji with Acting. This is a compilation album. You might as well call it as an album that he recorded back in the 90s, in the mid 90s. These are songs that he recorded, you know, back in 1996, and that were only on it, because originally the songs were on an EP. It was like a 6-song EP, but then he made songs around that time too, and you know, it was only on vinyl. But then he was nice enough, you know, Traffic Entertainment were nice enough to get all those reels and the demos and shit like that, put them on CD, which I'm fucking glad. And so you could probably actually say like this is the album that he recorded in 1996 that never saw the light of day. So love the production of this album. So if you guys want to know how he sounded back in 1996, what his music sounded at that time, like 95, 96, 97, then this is album to pick up. Very dope. Love the production on it. Very dope. Edalji and the Bulldogs, Acting, released in 2008. Out of print. Next album, A.G with the Dirty Version. This is his solo debut album. A.G of Showbiz and A.G Fame, DITC Fame. This came out in 1999. Very dope album. This album came out right after their third album, the Full Scale EP or the LP, whatever. Which I need to get my hands on that shit, but that shit is very hard to find. It goes for a lot of money, even more expensive than the Goodfellas album and the Runaway Slave album, which is kind of crazy to me. But the singles off this album is Rude Awakening. That was a single. Weed Senator, I believe, was a single too. But very, very dope album. To me, this album kind of left off a little bit where Full Scale left off, in my opinion. It has some, you know, like commercialized songs, but it definitely has, like, you know, some dope beats, man. Mudslide, fucking love that. All I Seen, that's my shit. What's that song? Weed Center with Guru, rest in peace, Leave It Alone. We Do That Too. Shout 'Em Out, that's my shit right there. Very dope album, very underrated. I rarely hear people talk about this album, you know what I mean? But if you can get your hands on this, definitely pick it up. And it's dirt cheap too, alright? This A.G of DITC Fame with the Dirty Version, released in 1999. Dope shit. So something I got left. Alright, so that's my time. And last but not least, finally got my hands on it. I got it for a great price. Maestro Fresh West's third or fourth, I think it's his fourth album. With Naaah, this kid can't be from Canada, released in 1993. Maestro Fresh West, he's an MC from Toronto, Canada. You know, at the time, you know, he was like considered like the Big Daddy Kane of Canada. You know, they kind of, you can might as well say they were like the same people, because when he first came out, you know, he had like, you know, he was like the battle oriented type of dude and stuff like that. But then he started getting a little bit more commercialized, and people were kind of like, oh, what the fuck, you know, that kind of thing. And then, you know, he ended with this album, he just went gangster with it, you know what I'm saying? He just went real gangster. And, you know, production is mostly done by him, but also Showbiz of Showbiz and A.G DITC Fame. There's a couple joints on this album. My opinion, his best album. I haven't heard all of his albums yet, but very, very dope album. Around this time, this is when he was living in Brooklyn, I think, at that time, and he was recording the album. And I think that's how he was able to record the songs with Showbiz and stuff like that. But very dope, very gritty, boom bap, roughneck, you know, Carhartt, you know, champion hoodie type shit right here. Very dope, alright? And that's it, folks. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Stay tuned for more, alright? Peace.